finally, we're going to hear from Judge Ricardo Martinez, who's on the federal court bench.
Thank you. And I sit on the federal bench here for the Western District of Washington. You know, I'm struck by several common themes that are running, that you're hearing up here. One is, you know, patience, perseverance, passion, no doubt. Also, you're listening to some amazing stories of individuals that had always had faith in themselves. And regardless of whatever hurdles may be placed in their way, we're able to overcome that. The third thing I'm really struck by is, since I know most of these people up here, is I can't believe how old they're getting. Anyway, I've had the distinct pleasure of being sworn into 3 different judicial positions, and the one pleasure I've never had is running for election. And thank goodness now I don't ever have to think about that and worry about that. But I was with the King County Prosecutor's Office for my career. When I came out of law school, there were a lot of reasons why I went to law school, but the main primary reason was I wanted to be the best public defender I could possibly be. So I spent 10 years at the prosecutor's office, but that's a whole nother story. We don't have time to talk about that. Judge Fleck and I have something else in common, aside from being former colleagues on the King County Superior Court bench. Charlie Burdell. Charlie Burdell was the judge who stepped down, created a slot for me to take. And it's really interesting about that particular connection. Charlie Burdell realized he didn't really like being a Superior Court judge. There were other things he wanted to do, and he went on to, of course, to be very, very successful in those other things that he did. But that opened up that slot. And I still remember vividly that phone call from Governor Gardner to me, asking if I wanted the job. And I still remember the very last thing that he said to me as we talked about the same sorts of things that you heard from Judge Lucas, about, you know, looking for the perfect judge, you know, and you heard the comments about, you know, these are the type of characteristics that I'm looking for. And I will always remember the very last thing he said to me before he hung up the phone, after he said, I'm going to release the press release this afternoon. He said, Rick? And I go, yes, Governor. He goes, don't screw it up. Hey, you know, we got to know each other, all right? So he knew me. But I spent almost 9 years on the King County Superior Court bench, just loving the job. I never was challenged for any election cycle, but I worried about it every single time. The very first time you go on the bench, you got to stand for election that very same year. And that was a nerve-wracker. And then every 4 years after that, I had a chance and an opportunity to go on the appellate courts. And I really thought about it, and it was very humbling to be approached and be you know, thought of as someone that could fill that slot. But I knew I wouldn't like the job itself. I'm a trial judge. I've been a trial lawyer. I was a trial judge in the Superior Court. I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I can't move up any further in the appellate level, then where else can I go? And I thought, well, the highest position you can go is to be a United States District Court judge. So what would it take? All right, this is easy. I've been appointed to the Superior Court bench. It's just to check out the process. So just get the president to nominate you, get the Congress to, wait a minute, wait, how many presidents do I know? I don't know very many. I know who my senators are. I don't think I've ever met them. How do I get there? And you heard the same theme coming all the way through. The very first thing you've got to do is identify what it is you want and why you want it. And the fact that you've got to have the fire in your belly to go after it. Because there's going to be a lot of hurdles, no matter what. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, there's going to be a ton of hurdles in your way. And they're all going to be unique to you. So what could I do? I can't get the attention of anyone at any level to become a federal judge. There's 768 Article III judges that are, you know, full-time active judges right now in the country. That's a small club, all right? So how do I get there? I can't. Well, wait, where else can I go? Well, they have such a thing called a magistrate judge, who is not appointed by the president, not confirmed by the Senate, simply confirmed by the judges of that district court in your area. So I thought maybe that's my way to get my foot in the door. So I applied, along with 57 other people. So there were 58 of us. I made the top 5. I show up, all the judges, all the federal judges in the Western District sitting there interviewing me at a table. First question asked of me by the chief judge, why do you want to be a magistrate judge? And my reaction, you know, my response to him was, well, actually, I want your job, but I can't get there right now, so let me tell you, I'm going to be the best magistrate judge you ever had. Spent almost 6 years as a magistrate judge. Had a great job, lots of fun, tons of experience. Federal bar got to know me, and then a miracle happened. One of our sitting active judges was appointed to a national level position, Judge Barbara Rothstein, created another opening, and next thing you know, this little kid from Whatcom County who grew up picking berries, strawberries and raspberries and living in a migrant camp is on his way walking from the perimeter security area to the west wing of the White House to interview for a job. That was the most amazing 40 yards walk I've ever taken in my entire life. And people have asked me this in the past, were you really nervous? Were you nervous about that whole thing? And I said, I was really nervous leading up to it. The night before, I think I probably got 3 hours of sleep maximum. My appointment was at 1 o'clock. I showed up at 11:15. I was maybe a little apprehensive, but you know what? Once they actually came to get me, and once I walked back in there and just took that deep breath, and all that just disappeared because I had done everything I possibly could to be ready for that time. And now this is showtime. This is what any trial lawyer can do, and it was actually kind of fun. It's an amazing job. It's an amazing process, and I understand how lucky and how humble. I try to be humble, thinking about how lucky I am to have gotten this particular position because it's very, very, very difficult. It's not something that you can say, I'm going to target and this is what's going to happen, because you have no control over all of these factors. But if you're not ready when that opportunity knocks, then you're not going to be able to do it, regardless of whatever position you choose to go for. And the only other last bit of advice that I leave you with is this, and you've heard this from all the people that have talked about the appointing authority. You've got to do your homework. Just like any other thing you prepare for, you've got to be ready. What's in it for that individual to appoint you? They've got a ton of people to choose from. The short list that we talked about, that's 5, maybe 6 names. There's a much longer list that's part of that. You're talking about 25 people on there. Why should they look at you versus the 24 other people that are on that list? And when you can answer that, and when you can look in that mirror and say, because I'm the best candidate that there is, and that self-worth and that understanding that I can do the job, and look at my track record throughout my entire career, I've done nothing but the most professional work possible, then you're ready, and go for it. That's all I can say. Have faith in yourself, go for it. And she saved the last, for me for last, not because I'm the best, but because she knows how difficult it is to get federal judges to shut up. But